You see, my father was a hard man. He believed in discipline and consequences. And when I was out of line, he didn't hesitate to give me a stern talking. But looking back, I realize now that those talks shaped me into the man I am today. They made me tough, they made me resilient. They taught me that there are always consequences for our actions and that we have to be accountable for them. I've walked on the wild side, I've seen the darkest parts of this world. But I've always been prepared to face the consequences. Because that's what it takes to be a man. That's what it takes to be a detective. I know what's right and what's wrong. And I'll always do what's right. So when you're out there, thinking you can get away with anything, just remember, there's always someone like me out there, ready to give you a stern talking. And trust me, you don't want that. Because I'm not just a man, I'm a force of nature. And when I give you a stern talking, it's not just words. It's action. It's justice. And you better be prepared to face the consequences. The killer thinks he's outsmarted me, but he's wrong. He wants to be caught, but only by the right person. He wants me. He wants to face me. He doesn't have to wait any longer. I'm not done with him. I'll hunt him down, and when I do, I'll make him pay for every single life he's taken, every family he's destroyed, every ounce of pain he's inflicted. He took away my life, turned me into my own demon, a vigilante, a detective. He may have made me a legend, but I'll make sure he's remembered as a monster. And when I finally catch him, I'll finally be able to find peace. But until then, I'll be lurking in the shadows, hunting down those who dare to prey on the innocent. Because that's what I do. That's who I am. I am the hunter. I am the legend. And I will not rest until justice is served, and vengeance is mine. I head to my car and start the engine, my mind set on my next destination. The warehouse. That's where he's headed next. I speed through the streets, my adrenaline pumping. I won't let him get away this time. As I arrive at the warehouse, I park my car a few blocks away and make my way towards the building on foot. I need to be stealthy. I can't let him know I'm here. I approach the warehouse and see that the front door is slightly ajar. I pull out my gun and slowly push the door open. Inside, it's dark and quiet. But I can feel him here, I can sense his presence. I move through the warehouse, my eyes scanning every inch, every shadow. And then I hear it, a faint noise coming from the back of the warehouse. I move towards the sound, my gun at the ready. And there he is, the killer, the psychotic arsonist. He's pouring gasoline, preparing to strike again. I step out of the shadows and point my gun at him. Freeze! I shout. He turns to me, a smirk on his face.
You've been hunting me for so long, detective. And now, finally, we meet.
He says. I keep my gun trained on him, my hand steady. You won't get away this time. This is the end of the road for you. I say. He laughs.
You think you've won? You think you've caught me? You're wrong, detective. This is only the beginning.
And with that, he pulls out a dart gun and shoots me with a poison dart. I feel a sharp pain in my neck and then everything goes black. When I wake up, I am surrounded by flames and the warehouse is burning. My head is throbbing and I can barely move. I try to get up but I can't. I realize I am tied up. The killer is standing in front of me, with a smirk on his face.
You were so close, detective. But you fell for my trap. Now you will burn with this warehouse.
As he speaks, he picks up the can of gasoline and continues to drench me with it.
You see, detective, I am not just an ordinary arsonist. I am an artist. I create beauty and destruction. And you are my masterpiece. I've been waiting for this moment for so long. The moment when I finally get to take your life, just like I took your wife and daughters.
I can feel the stench of gasoline filling my nostrils. But I am not afraid. I have faced death before and I will face it again. I am a detective, a hunter of the worst kind of criminal. And this piece of shit in front of me is no different. As he goes on, I can feel my mind working. I'm not going down without a fight. Then I feel my left coat pocket. I had picked up that syringe earlier, filled with laughing poison. It's my only chance. I let him gloat and talk, while I reach into my pocket and grasp the syringe. He finishes talking and looks at me with a smirk on his face.
Any last words?
He asks. I smirk back and reply. Just one. Say hello to your brother for me. And with that, I quickly stab him with the syringe. The poison takes effect immediately and he starts laughing uncontrollably, a sick and twisted laughter. But I am not done yet. I break free from my bindings and despite the pain, I get on my feet. I take a step towards him and he tries to grab a nearby weapon, but I quickly disarm him. The fight is intense. He's a skilled fighter, but I've been in tougher situations before. I use his laughter to my advantage, using his disorientation to strike him where it hurts. I punch him in the gut and he doubles over, giving me the chance to strike him on the back of his neck. I hear a satisfying crunch and he falls to the ground. I take a step towards him, grab his neck and squeeze it tight, watching him as he chokes on his own laughter. He struggles, trying to break free, but I am too strong for him. I feel the satisfying crack of his neck as I snap it with my bare hands. I watch him until the last breath leaves his body. I've done it. I killed him. But the job's not done. I fall back into my chair. I take out one last cigarette and that lighter that swine gave me so many years before. I still kept that lighter all these years. It reminded me what I needed to do. To kill that bastard. But I never used it. Not even once. In fact, this was the first time I've used it since that dreadful day so long ago. Damn that cheap bastard. It didn't work back then and it sure as hell ain't working now. I take out my matchbox. I'm old school and I like it that way. I pick a match and strike it against one of the worn-out sides of the box. It seemed to have seen better days. Better than mine at least. It snaps. I take one last match and toss the piece of crap container to the side. I open my shirt and strike the match on the newly dried scab on my shoulder. Good thing I used that dirt earlier. It lights, but I keep it on my wound for a few seconds longer, just so I can feel my flesh burn. I like it. I light my cigarette and take a deep breath. Like I said, if I'm gonna die on the job, it might as well be from something that I like doing. I take my last draw from the cigarette and drop the match on my gasoline-soaked lap, and it immediately engulfs me in flames. It burns. But I like it. The job's not done. See you in hell.